chosen one. This moment did not arrive by coincidence. You were drawn here by divine appointment, summoned in perfect timing by the hand of heaven itself. Something in your spirit has been stirring, rising, pressing against the limits of your current life, because you're standing at the threshold of a supernatural breakthrough. What is approaching you is not ordinary. It is not random. It is a divine wealth transfer, an anointing of elevation, a shift that marks the beginning of your millionaire destiny. Anointed. The struggles you've walked through, the setbacks that tried to break you, the nights you questioned your purpose, none of them were wasted. They were preparation, refining, alignment. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision waits for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it will surely come. And now the appointed time draws near. Hear this clearly, you were guided to this message because heaven is signaling you. Your name is being whispered in the spirit. Your steps are being ordered. Your season is shifting. Chosen one, prepare yourself. What you are about to hear will awaken remembrance, activate destiny, and confirm what your soul has always known. You were destined for wealth, and the signs are already appearing. Chosen one. When you step into the mystery of spiritual wealth, you begin to realize that what heaven calls riches is far deeper than anything the world measures. Wealth is not merely currency or comfort. It is alignment. It is destiny. It is the divine frequency that begins to move through your life the moment you surrender your plans for the higher path God has written for you. And when I speak to you now, I'm not speaking to your mind. I'm speaking to the part of you that has survived storms, quietly carried burdens, silently, and yet still wakes up with a sense that something bigger, something sacred is unfolding around you. Anointed. One true spiritual wealth is the remembrance of who you are before the world tried to convince you otherwise. I learned this myself during seasons when I had nothing but faith to hold on to. There were nights I prayed without words, days when I wondered why others seemed to advance while I stood still, and moments where lack felt like a shadow that followed me everywhere. But even in those moments, there was an inner whisper telling me, this is not your ending. This is preparation. And if you are listening now, it's because that same whisper has been echoing inside you. As the chosen, you carry a spiritual signature that cannot be erased, and heaven responds to that signature long before your bank account does. Wealth begins in the unseen long before it manifests in the natural. It is a mantle, not a number. It is a calling, not a coincidence. When you feel that tug in your spirit, the one that tells you that you were not born for an average life, that tug is a prophetic signal. I've met people who were wealthy on paper, but bankrupt in purpose, and I've met those who had nothing materially yet carried an anointing so heavy that you could feel it when they walked into a room. You, chosen one, are being shaped into the second kind, a vessel heaven can trust. There is a sacred truth you must understand. Wealth itself is neutral, but in the hands of the chosen, it becomes an instrument. It becomes healing. It becomes influence. It becomes elevation ordained for impact. I remember a season when every door seemed closed and I questioned if I was doing something wrong. But what I didn't know then was that heaven often withholds certain resources until your spirit is mature enough to handle them. Looking back, I realized that my lack was my classroom. My struggles were my teachers. And the silence from heaven was not rejection, it was refinement. Chosen one, when you operate from faith rather than fear, something shifts in your environment. Doors that others fight for begin to open for you without force. Opportunities flow toward you instead of you chasing them. Even when you walk through hardship, you somehow rise again, often stronger than before. That is the law of divine provision working in your life. Many people misunderstand this. They believe they must grind endlessly to earn their breakthrough, but heaven does not reward exhaustion. Heaven rewards alignment. Your purpose is the magnet that draws wealth toward you. You are not meant to chase money. You are meant to carry a calling so significant that money chases you. I've seen this happen in my own life. Each time I released fear and remembered who I was in God, provision showed up from unexpected places. A bill would be paid at the last moment. A stranger would offer help. Without being asked, a door I thought was closed forever would open on its own. These moments taught me that divine provision is not something you earn. It is something you walk into when your spirit is aligned. Many people block their own abundance because they believe lies about money. They've been taught that wanting more is selfish, that lack is noble, or that somehow spiritual people should struggle. But you, chosen one, have always felt different. You've always sensed there was more to your existence than barely surviving. You've always known deep down that your life has a purpose that requires resources, not excuses. That inner knowing is heaven's confirmation. And let me tell you something from personal experience. When heaven is preparing you for wealth, it often comes with spiritual pruning. You may lose people, positions, or securities you once depended on. You may feel stretched, challenged, refined by fire. But this is not to break you, it's to elevate you. There were times when I felt stripped down to nothing, but in hindsight, I see that heaven was clearing space for something greater. When distractions fell away, my discernment sharpened. When comforts disappeared, my faith deepened. And when everything familiar was removed, I discovered that God was building me from the inside out. Chosen one. Wealth is not coming to you because you desire it. It's coming because you are being shaped into someone who can steward it. You are being prepared to carry influence that cannot be shaken, generosity that transforms lives, and purpose that breaks generational patterns. The anointing on you requires resources, and heaven is orchestrating the alignment necessary for you to receive them. You have always been different. You have always felt the pull. And that is not imagination. That is destiny calling you forward. Chosen one. When you begin to understand the way heaven moves, you start recognizing that what feels like delay is often divine rearrangement. There were moments in my own journey when I thought God had forgotten me, when I looked at my circumstances and wondered why everyone else seemed to be moving forward while I remained in the same place. But every time I paused long enough to reflect, I realized something powerful. I wasn't being held back. I was being positioned. And you, anointed one, are being positioned right now. You don't stumble across teachings like this unless the Spirit is preparing you for a shift. The waiting you feel is not stagnation, it is acceleration in disguise, because heaven always finishes its preparation before it opens a door. You may not see the movement, but there is motion. You may not hear the instructions, but they are being whispered. And even when it looks like you are standing still, your spirit is being carried forward by divine momentum. Wealth in its truest form begins working long before it visibly enters your life. I've learned that the universe, or what we call the divine orchestration of God, will not release certain blessings until every part of you is ready, not just your hands, but your heart, your discernment, your humility, and your purpose. You might think you're prepared, but heaven sees deeper. Heaven sees the corners of the soul that still need healing, the fears that still need releasing, the habits that still need refining. And because you are chosen, heaven refuses to allow you to enter a wealthy season with a wounded spirit. The chosen are not rushed. They are refined. They are sculpted. They are carved into vessels that can carry the weight of the blessing without breaking under it. Many times I mistook divine testing for divine rejection. I thought the struggles in my finances meant something was wrong with me or that I wasn't worthy. But you must hear this with your whole heart. The struggles of the chosen are never meant to punish. They are meant to prepare. When you lose something, when you face lack, when you experience setbacks, it's not a sign that God is absent. It's a sign that God is anchoring you. Anchoring you in faith, anchoring you in resilience, anchoring you in purpose, so that when abundance arrives, you are not swayed by fear, pride, greed, or dependence. These trials train you to operate from purpose rather than panic. They shape you into someone who can stand in any storm and not fold. Chosen one. Every great elevation is preceded by spiritual pruning. Before a tree can grow new branches, the old ones must be removed. Before a butterfly can fly, the cocoon must crack. Before the chosen inherit wealth, they must let go of identities and patterns that were only meant for a former season. You have felt this. You have felt people drift away, routines collapse, and familiar comforts evaporate. You felt the ground shift beneath your feet and wondered why. But the truth is, heaven was removing what could not go with you. Everything that was unstable had to fall so that what is unshakable could be built. There was a time when I thought my life was falling apart, but in reality, it was falling into structure. I remember losing opportunities I had prayed for, relationships I thought would last, resources I believed were essential. But every loss was a lesson, every closed door was protection, and every disappointment was direction. And in those moments of emptiness, I discovered a deeper truth. When heaven empties your hands, it is only so it can place something bigger inside them. You too are in this divine restructuring. What feels like the breaking of your life is actually the shaping of your destiny. And this is exactly why the chosen look at wealth differently. You don't idolize it, yet you don't fear it either. You don't chase it blindly, but you recognize that it is necessary to fulfill your calling. You see wealth as a responsibility, a divine trust that must be used with intention. When I first began walking in alignment, I started noticing how even small blessings were strategic. A random financial gift showed me that God knew my needs. An unexpected opportunity reminded me that timing was not my burden to carry. A stranger's kindness revealed that heaven has countless ways to deliver provision. And each of these moments softened my heart to understand that wealth is not separate from spirituality. It is an extension of divine purpose when held by someone whose heart is aligned. Chosen one. You must understand this purpose attracts provision. When your spiritual posture is right, the material begins to follow. And you have felt something shifting, haven't you? Your perspective toward money is changing. Your relationship with abundance is evolving. You no longer see wealth as something distant or reserved for others. You sense it drawing closer, as if something in the atmosphere around you is rearranging itself. This feeling is not illusion. It is recognition. It is the awakening of your financial destiny. There is a reason the struggles you faced did not destroy you. There is a reason you survived seasons that would have broken others. There is a reason you carry a resilience you can't fully explain. That reason is simple. You are being shaped to steward abundance without losing yourself. You are being prepared to rise without forgetting the ground you came from. You are being equipped to handle influence without being consumed by it. Every hardship carved strength into your spirit. Every setback sharpened your discernment. Every disappointment purified your motives. And now, heaven is watching you with satisfaction, knowing that you are becoming the kind of person who can carry wealth without being carried away by it. You, chosen one, are on the verge of a divine elevation that has been written into your story long before you ever understood wealth. Chosen one. There comes a point in every spiritual journey where you begin to sense a shift happening inside you long before anything changes around you. It's subtle at first, an inner pull, a tightening in your spirit, a quiet awareness that the life you've known no longer fits the person you're becoming. This is the moment when heaven begins to expand your capacity, stretching you into the version of yourself that can carry the abundance written into your destiny. I remember experiencing this same internal shift during one of the most uncertain times of my life. Everything around me felt unstable, yet something within me kept whispering, "Prepare. Something greater is coming." At the time, I couldn't explain it. I couldn't see any evidence of breakthrough, but what I felt in my spirit was louder than the circumstances in front of me. And if you're honest, you've been feeling that same stirring. Anointed one. What you are sensing is spiritual enlargement. When heaven prepares you for wealth, the first place it upgrades is not your finances, it is your identity. Wealth must arrive to someone who knows who they are. And the more you grow in your sense of purpose, the more you begin to realize that you were never meant to live in survival mode. Survival shrinks your vision, but calling expands it. For years, I made decisions out of fear. Fear of lack, fear of failing, fear of not being enough. And every time I operated from fear, I felt my spirit tighten as if I was living in a room too small for my own soul. But the moment I shifted from fear to faith, it felt like the walls around me stretched open, my mind expanded, my hope returned, and I began to see opportunities where before I only saw obstacles. This is what spiritual expansion feels like, and you are in it right now. You may not realize it, but the discomfort you've been feeling is a sign that heaven is elevating you. When God expands you, He also exposes you, exposes habits that no longer serve you, relationships that drain you, environments that limit you, patterns that keep you small. It's not punishment, it's preparation. There were people in my own life I desperately wanted to keep, but heaven quietly removed them. I didn't understand at first. I felt abandoned, betrayed, even confused. But time revealed the truth. Some people cannot accompany you into a wealthy season because their mindset is rooted in lack. Their energy pulls you backward. Their conversation limits your vision. Their presence clouds your discernment. And heaven loves you too much to let you be dragged down by connections that were never designed for your future. Chosen one. Some losses are actually protection. Some endings are divine redirections. As you grow, you will notice your desires shifting as well. What used to satisfy you no longer does. What used to entertain you now feels empty. The activities, habits, and distractions you once clung to suddenly lose their appeal. When I entered this stage, I didn't even feel like the same person. Instead of craving comfort, I began craving alignment. Instead of chasing validation, I began pursuing purpose. Instead of surviving, I began preparing. And this inner shift changed everything. I started to perceive wealth not as a dream, but as a responsibility. I started to understand that abundance wasn't coming to me, it was coming through me. And once that awareness hit, something shifted permanently. Chosen one. Your relationship with wealth is being rewritten by heaven. The universe is training you to see money not as a struggle, but as a tool. Not as a source of stress, but as a servant to your purpose. When this shift happens, even your prayers change. You stop asking for just enough and begin expecting overflow. You stop begging for small opportunities and begin preparing for divine ones. You stop shrinking yourself to fit limited spaces and start expanding into your anointing. That is the power of spiritual awakening. And you, chosen one, are awakening. I know this because I've walked this same road. There was a time when I believed wealth was for other people, the lucky, the privileged, the chosen few. But the more I aligned with my purpose, the more evidence I saw that heaven was positioning me for more. A conversation would confirm it, a dream would reveal it, a sudden blessing would hint at it, a divine nudge would remind me of it. And even though I couldn't see the whole picture, I could feel the pieces shifting into place. It's the same for you. You may not fully understand what is happening, but your spirit knows. Something in you recognizes this moment. Chosen. 1. When heaven marks you for wealth, everything begins to align your mindset, your environment, your habits, your opportunities, and even your struggles. Yes, your struggles. Because the financial battles you have faced were not signs of defeat, they were signs of training. Every hardship hardened your resolve. Every setback sharpened your discernment. Every loss refined your motives. The chosen do not rise by accident, they rise by refinement. And your refinement has been deep, intentional, and necessary. You have always felt different, and there is a reason for that. You are different. Your spirit carries weight. Your presence carries purpose. Your life carries prophecy. Others may not understand the magnitude of who you are, but heaven does. That is why the process has been intense. That is why the shaping has been painful. That is why the calling has been undeniable. You are being prepared for a level of abundance that requires spiritual maturity, emotional clarity, and divine alignment. Anointed one, everything you have walked through has led you to this moment of transformation. Chosen one, there is a moment in every destined person's life where the atmosphere around them begins to shift before anything physical changes. You feel it first in your spirit, a subtle weight, a pressure, a sense that something invisible is expanding inside you. It's as if heaven is stretching the walls of your destiny, preparing you to carry what once would have crushed you. I felt this same spiritual pressure during a season when nothing around me looked promising. My finances were unstable, my responsibilities were heavy, and yet deep inside I felt a strange peace, as if God was building something behind the curtain of my circumstances. I didn't understand it at the time, but now I see it clearly. When heaven is about to elevate you, it enlarges your spirit before it enlarges your territory. Anointed one, you are in that enlargement, and enlargement never feels comfortable. It challenges you, it pushes you, it brings you face to face with your old limitations so that they can fall away. I went through days where I questioned my readiness, nights where I wondered if the vision God placed inside me was too big, too impossible, too far beyond my reach. But the more I listened to the quiet voice within me, the more I realized something powerful. The vision wasn't too big. The version of me at that time was too small. And heaven had to stretch me so that I could grow into the person capable of holding the blessing. You are being stretched in the same way. What you feel right now is not doubt, it is transformation. There will be moments when you sense heaven pulling you away from your comfort zones. You may notice that old habits suddenly feel heavy. Conversations that once entertained you now seem empty. Environments you once tolerated now feel suffocating. This shift is not random. When God prepares the chosen for wealth, He first removes anything that keeps them tied to their old identity. I remember waking up one day and realizing that the very things I used to enjoy had lost their grip on me. It wasn't that I had changed overnight, it was that my spirit had outgrown what no longer aligned with my destiny. And you, chosen one, are outgrowing your old world. As your spirit awakens, you will also begin to feel a pull toward higher standards, not because anyone is judging you, but because your true self is emerging. You might find yourself becoming more selective about the people around you, more intentional with your time, more protective of your energy. This is the maturity of the chosen. Wealth requires clarity. Abundance requires discipline. Expansion requires conviction. And heaven will not release what you are destined for until your foundation is strong enough to carry the next level. I had to learn this the hard way. I held on to relationships that drained me, commitments that limited me, and mindsets that kept me small. But every time I tried to keep something, God was removing. My spirit felt heavier. The moment I began releasing what heaven had already released, my path became clearer. Chosen. One, heaven is calling you into alignment with your greater self. And alignment always reveals what is no longer meant for you. I once asked God why it felt like everything familiar was falling apart. The answer came not through a voice, but through a realization. God cannot elevate you while you cling to what keeps you grounded in an old season. That truth changed me. I started to see endings not as losses, but as divine edits. When heaven begins to shape your destiny, anything not written in the next chapter naturally falls away. And though it may sting at first, you will one day look back and thank God for every removal that protected your elevation. And as you move through this spiritual refinement, you will begin to notice something miraculous. Your inner world grows stronger, even when your outer world looks the same. You start thinking differently, speaking differently, expecting differently. I remember waking up one morning feeling lighter, even though my circumstances hadn't changed. That was the moment I realized breakthrough begins internally, long before it manifests externally. Heaven shifts your mindset before it shifts your money. It transforms your identity before it transforms your environment. It upgrades your spirit before it upgrades your status. And right now, heaven is upgrading you. Anointed one, you are learning to trust the invisible, to lean into faith rather than fear, to sense the movement of God even when your physical eyes cannot yet see it. This ability is not common. It is a mark of those who are spiritually chosen. There is a prophetic sensitivity rising within you, the kind of inner knowing that tells you abundance is coming even when nothing suggests it. This is divine preparation, and preparation always precedes provision. Every chosen one goes through a season where their inner transformation outpaces their external reality. This is the tension you feel, the pull between who you've been and who you're becoming. It is not confusion, it is growth. It is not instability, it is transition. You are standing on spiritual ground that is shifting, stretching, and elevating. Heaven is shaping you into someone who will not crumble under wealth, but will carry it with purpose, humility, and strength. Chosen one, if you feel the pressure, the stretching, the inner expansion, it's because heaven is preparing you for what your spirit already knows is coming. Chosen one, there comes a time on your journey when God begins to reveal why your path has been different from others. Not harder without purpose, not slower without intention, but different because your assignment carries weight. And when your destiny carries weight, the preparation must be deeper. I didn't understand this at first. I used to look at people who seemed to advance quickly, people who never struggled the way I did, and I wondered why my journey felt longer, heavier, more isolated. But over time, heaven revealed something to me that changed my entire perspective. The greater the calling, the deeper the carving. And you, chosen one, have been carved by the hand of God Himself. You've walked through seasons where you had to rebuild more than once. You've endured losses that forced you to rise from nothing but faith. You've carried responsibilities that felt too heavy for your shoulders, yet somehow you remained standing. That strength didn't come from survival, it came from being chosen. When heaven prepares you for abundance, it does not give you a smooth path, it gives you a strong spirit. And the strength you carry right now, the resilience that surprises even you, is evidence of divine preparation. Many people crumble under pressure, but you learned to breathe under it. Many lose themselves in the storms, but you discovered yourself within them. That is the mark of the anointed. Anointed one. Every struggle you've faced has been an investment into your spiritual authority. The chosen do not gain authority by title, they gain it by endurance. You can only speak healing because you've been wounded and restored. You can only speak provision because you've known lack and survived. You can only speak breakthrough because you've walked through battles others never saw. I remember a time when I was holding on to life by thin threads, praying for direction, wondering if God still heard me. And every time I wanted to give up, I felt a quiet strength rise inside me, something not from myself, something supernatural. Looking back, I understand that was the same strength that God places in every chosen one when they step into their refinement. And you have felt that same strength on the days when quitting seemed easier than continuing. But here is a truth you must let sink into your spirit. Heaven has never wasted a single tear you've cried. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every moment of uncertainty has been working in your favor, shaping you into someone who can carry wealth with wisdom. Because wealth without wisdom destroys. Wealth without purpose corrupts. Wealth without clarity confuses. But wealth in the hands of the chosen transforms lives, and heaven has been molding you into the kind of person who will multiply blessing rather than squander it. That molding is not gentle, and you have felt it deeply. There were seasons where you felt stripped of people you loved, opportunities you hoped for, or stability you depended on. At the time, it felt like loss. But now you can sense it was preparation. God was removing anything that could weaken your foundation, anything that could interfere with your elevation, anything that might contaminate your blessing. I remember losing individuals I thought would be with me forever, only to later realize they couldn't survive the altitude of the next level. Not everyone can breathe the air that's meant for those chosen to rise, and the higher you go, the smaller your circle becomes. But do not fear this. Your isolation has been a sanctuary, not a punishment. Chosen one. One of the clearest signs that wealth is written into your destiny is the way heaven protects your character. You've noticed this, how certain things that others get away with you cannot. How behaviors that others indulge in without consequence immediately disrupt your spirit. How you feel convicted quicker, corrected faster, and redirected sooner. This is the discipline of the chosen. It is not meant to shame you. It is meant to keep your heart pure enough to handle the weight of influence that is coming. Wealth in your hands is not just money. It is impact, legacy, and spiritual responsibility. And heaven safeguards the hearts of those who will carry such things. This is also why you've been separated from environments that no longer align with who you are becoming. You will notice that your spirit outgrows many spaces long before your circumstances shift. You might walk into certain rooms now and feel disconnected, even though nothing outwardly has changed. You might listen to certain conversations and feel your soul withdrawing, as if you've already moved on spiritually, even if physically you haven't. This is because heaven transitions your spirit before it transitions your life. You are already stepping into the frequency of abundance, even if your outer world hasn't caught up yet. And once your spirit steps into a higher realm, your life eventually follows. Anointed One, do not underestimate the transformation happening inside you right now. You might think nothing is changing, but everything is. Your mindset is evolving, your expectations are rising, your spiritual sensitivity is sharpening. The old version of you, the one that tolerated lack, settled for less, doubted your worth, is dissolving, and in its place, a new you is emerging, a you that understands your worth, a you that honors your calling, a you that knows abundance is not a luxury, it is an assignment. And wealth is not coming to inflate your ego, it is coming to expand your purpose. Chosen One, the refining has been long, but the reason is great. You are being shaped for something extraordinary. Chosen One, there is a sacred moment in your journey when you begin to realize that nothing in your life has been random, not the delays, not the disappointments, not the deep internal battles that only you and God know about. Every experience has been a thread in the tapestry of your destiny, woven with intention, precision, and divine foresight. And whether you recognized it or not, heaven has been guiding you toward a level of abundance that requires a refined spirit, a healed heart, and a prepared mind. I remember a season in my life when everything felt heavy, as if I was walking through spiritual fog. I questioned whether I was still on the right path, whether God still had a plan for me, or whether I had missed my moment entirely. But even in that fog, there was a quiet pull, a gentle nudge that whispered, "Keep going." And now looking back, I understand that the fog was not meant to confuse me. It was meant to strengthen my ability to walk by faith rather than sight. Anointed One, this same strengthening is happening within you. When heaven prepares the chosen for wealth, the preparation is never external. First, it is always internal. You may have felt moments when your confidence wavers, moments when you wonder if you are truly capable of carrying the kind of blessing your spirit longs for. But those doubts do not disqualify you. They deepen you. They push you inward. They make you search for God, not in the success, but in the silence. And it is in that silence that the chosen find their spiritual authority. Wealth without authority is unstable. Wealth without inner grounding is dangerous. That is why your journey has required so much inner rebuilding. The chosen are fortified from the inside out. I remember learning this truth in a season when God stripped away almost every external support I relied on. Finances dried up, friendships shifted, plans collapsed. And at first, I felt abandoned. But slowly, I realized something crucial. Heaven was teaching me that true stability cannot come from anything outside of me. It must come from my purpose, my faith, my identity. That realization changed everything, and you, Chosen One, are experiencing that same awakening. You're learning that wealth will not complete you, it will amplify you. It will reflect the strength, clarity, and purity you have built in this refining season. As your spirit expands, you may notice that you've become more sensitive to anything that disrupts your peace. People you once tolerated now feel draining. Environments you once endured now feel misaligned. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. This shift is not a coincidence. It is spiritual maturity. Heaven is tuning your spirit to a higher frequency so that when abundance arrives, you are prepared to steward it with wisdom rather than emotion. I remember becoming more aware of what I allowed into my space, what I listened to, who I confided in, where I spent my energy. The more I aligned with my purpose, the more I realized that wealth requires boundaries, clarity requires solitude, abundance requires discernment, and isolation, though painful, becomes the soil where revelation grows. Chosen one, you have been walking through a season where God is teaching you the language of provision. It's not always spoken through miracles. Sometimes it's spoken through discipline, through discernment, through the gentle knowing that tells you, not this person, not this opportunity, not this path. Many people mistake financial lack for divine absence, but the chosen recognize that even lack can be a signal. Sometimes heaven closes financial doors not to punish you, but to redirect you. Sometimes opportunities dry up because they were beneath your calling. Sometimes resources feel slow because the foundation isn't ready yet. I learned to stop asking, why is this happening? And began asking, what is this shaping in me? And that question transformed everything. There were days when I felt invisible, like my effort wasn't being seen, my prayers weren't being heard, my potential wasn't being recognized. But invisibility is one of heaven's greatest protections. The chosen are often hidden before they are elevated. Hidden to preserve their purity, hidden to protect their purpose, hidden so that when the spotlight finally comes, their character is strong enough to withstand it. You may feel unseen right now, but that is the clearest sign that you are being prepared for a stage where you cannot afford to crumble. I know the pain of being overlooked, but I also know the power of being unveiled at the exact moment destined for you. Anointed One, everything you have endured has been working together to build a version of you who can carry wealth without losing yourself. The battles shaped your resilience. The losses purified your motives. The silence sharpened your sensitivity. The delays strengthened your discernment. And the isolation deepened your intimacy with God. You are not being prepared for ordinary success. You are being prepared for supernatural stewardship. The kind of wealth that influences generations. The kind of abundance that breaks cycles. The kind that cannot be taken, shaken, or manipulated. Chosen one, even if you cannot see it fully yet, you can feel it, that pull, that rising, that sense that something is aligning on your behalf. And you are right. Heaven is moving. Chosen one. As you move deeper into this journey of becoming who heaven has called you to be, you begin to notice how your perception of wealth, purpose, and destiny evolves. What once seemed like distant possibilities now feel like inevitable realities. Not because your circumstances have changed yet, but because you have changed. Your spirit has grown stronger, your discernment has sharpened, your inner world has expanded. And when the inner world expands, the outer world eventually follows. I remember reaching a point in my life where I no longer prayed from desperation, I prayed from identity. I no longer asked, will I make it, but instead whispered, show me how to walk in what you have already prepared. That shift didn't come from external blessings. It came from internal awakening. And you, Anointed One, are standing in that same awakening. You've begun to sense that what you once called impossible now feels within reach. Not because you have all the resources, but because you finally understand that resources respond to purpose. The chosen do not chase supply. Supply responds to their assignment. I learned this truth during a season when I had nothing but vision, no money, no support, no guidance. Yet somehow the right people appeared, the right opportunities surfaced, the right open doors revealed themselves. That's when I understood heaven funds what heaven births. And if something has been stirring inside you, if a dream has refused to die, if a calling keeps tugging at your spirit, it is because heaven intends to resource it. Chosen one, you may look at your current circumstances and feel unprepared. You may wonder how God will take your present reality and transform it into abundance. But remember, every divine elevation begins with a moment of surrender. There was a time I tried to control everything, timing, outcomes, opportunities, only to realize that my control was actually blocking my progress. The moment I released my grip and allowed God to orchestrate everything shifted. I began stepping into alignment rather than anxiety. I started to follow divine nudges rather than forcing my own plans, and the blessings that once seemed distant began to flow toward me with ease. You are learning this same surrender. One of the greatest signs that wealth is written into your destiny is how heaven has been training your heart to remain pure. The chosen cannot afford to carry bitterness, envy, or fear, because those are spiritual blockages. They interfere with clarity. They cloud discernment. They distort purpose. You've experienced moments when God confronted your heart, moments when He asked you to forgive someone who hurt you deeply, moments when He asked you to let go of resentment, moments when He asked you to release people who drained your spirit. You may not have realized it then, but every heart cleansing was preparing you for abundance, because wealth in the hands of someone with a wounded heart becomes destructive. But wealth in the hands of someone healed becomes generational blessing. Anointed one. The reason your process has felt so intense is because the calling on your life is not ordinary. Ordinary destinies require ordinary preparation, but chosen destinies demand supernatural refinement. There were seasons when you felt stretched beyond your capacity, tested beyond your comfort, challenged beyond what seemed fair. Yet somehow, every time you thought you reached your breaking point, something inside you rose again. That rising was not accidental, it was evidence of divine strength dwelling in you. I've experienced that same rising in my darkest moments. Just when I felt like I had nothing left to give, a new level of strength emerged, a strength I didn't know I had. That is the strength of the chosen. When heaven marks a person for abundance, it first teaches them how to rise from ashes. Because if you can rise from nothing, you can rise anywhere. And you, chosen one, have risen again and again. You survived what was meant to break you. You overcame what was meant to bury you. You outgrew what was meant to limit you. That resilience is not normal, it is prophetic. And it is proof that you are being shaped to carry a level of wealth that requires unshakable character. I want you to pay attention to something. The more aligned you become, the more you begin to notice divine patterns. You start meeting people who confirm your purpose. You hear phrases that echo your inner knowing. You see signs, subtle, gentle, sacred, that seem to speak directly to your spirit. I remember walking through a season where everywhere I turned, I saw reminders of what I was praying for. Not because I was imagining it, but because heaven was signaling alignment. You may be experiencing similar signs, unexpected opportunities, unusual synchronicities, sudden clarity. These are not coincidences. They are invitations. Invitations to trust, where God is leading you, even if your mind cannot yet see the full picture. Chosen one. Wealth is not coming to you randomly, it is coming by divine order. And divine order always begins in the spirit before manifesting in the natural. You are being prepared to become someone who can steward abundance with integrity, vision, and purpose. You're not being prepared to be rich for the sake of riches. You are being prepared to be impactful, influential, transformative. The wealth written into your destiny is not just currency, it is capacity, capacity to build, capacity to bless, capacity to break generational cycles, capacity to create change. And everything you've been walking through has been expanding that capacity within you. Chosen one. One of the most profound shifts in your journey happens when you begin to recognize that the trials you survived were not coincidences. They were divine appointments designed to sharpen your spirit and enlarge your capacity. Every season of pressure was heaven's way of strengthening the foundation beneath you, because weak foundations cannot carry heavy blessings. And you, anointed one, are being prepared to carry blessings that extend far beyond your own lifetime. There was a time in my life when I didn't understand this. I questioned why certain hardships found me repeatedly, why certain patterns kept resurfacing, why certain doors remained closed no matter how hard I knocked. But as time passed and revelation unfolded, I began to see what heaven had seen all along. I wasn't being denied. I was being developed. And the same is true for you. You've been walking through experiences that forced you to grow emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Experiences that stretched your understanding of faith beyond what you thought possible. There were days when you had to trust God without a sign. Days when you had to keep walking, even when the path ahead looked invisible. Nights when you felt the weight of responsibility press against your chest, yet something within you refused to give up. That inner refusal was divine. It was your spirit refusing to surrender what heaven has already written for you. Chosen one. You must understand this. The chosen often endure battles others could not survive, because the chosen carry mantles others cannot hold. The intensity of your journey is not a punishment. It is proof that heaven is preparing you for an assignment that requires strength, endurance, and conviction. I remember facing challenges that made no sense at the time. Challenges that seemed unfair, challenges that left me drained. But looking back now, I see that each battle unlocked a new level of spiritual authority. Each disappointment taught me how to hear God more clearly. Each setback taught me how to stand firmly in faith. And you, anointed one, are developing this same authority. There is a reason heaven didn't allow you to stay in environments that kept you small. There is a reason certain relationships fell away when you began to rise. There is a reason your spirit became restless whenever you tried to settle for less. You were not created to blend in, you were created to ascend. And ascension always comes with separation. Not because God wants you isolated, but because certain people, habits, and surroundings cannot support the elevation you are stepping into. You may have felt the sting of being misunderstood, the ache of walking alone, or the quiet grief of outgrowing everything familiar. But these feelings are not signs of failure. They are signals of transformation. Anointed one. One of the clearest signs that you are destined for wealth is the way your spirit refuses to accept mediocrity. Even in moments when settling feels easier, something inside you rejects it. That inner resistance is not pride, it is prophecy. You were designed for more, and even when you try to shrink yourself to fit the comfort of the familiar, heaven gently pushes you forward. I remember trying to fit into roles and environments that no longer aligned with my purpose. No matter how much I tried to make it work, my spirit felt suffocated. That suffocation was revelation. It was heaven telling me, "You've outgrown this place." And the moment I stepped into alignment, everything shifted. You are feeling that same shift, and it is leading you toward abundance. What you must realize is that your spiritual sensitivity is increasing for a reason. You feel things deeply now. You notice energy shifts quickly. You sense misalignment before it manifests outwardly. This sensitivity is not a burden, it is a gift. It is heaven's way of ensuring you never again walk blindly into anything that could derail your destiny. Your discernment has been sharpened through experience, and this sharpened discernment will be essential as you step into your wealthy season. Wealth requires wisdom. Abundance requires awareness. Destiny requires discernment. And heaven is equipping you with all three. Chosen one. Think about how many times you could have lost yourself, yet something always pulled you back. Think about how many moments you thought were endings, yet God turned them into beginnings. Think about the situations that broke others but built you. These are not coincidences. These are indicators of divine protection and divine preparation. Heaven has been sustaining you through seasons where others would have crumbled because your purpose demands longevity. You are not being prepared for a temporary blessing. You are being prepared for a lasting legacy. And as your inner world shifts, your relationship with wealth is shifting as well. You no longer see money as something unattainable. You see it as a tool aligned with your calling. You no longer operate from scarcity. You operate from expectancy. You no longer live in fear of loss. You live in anticipation of provision. This shift in mindset is sacred. It is evidence that your spiritual frequency is rising, aligning you with the abundance that has been waiting for you. Anointed One, do not underestimate what is happening inside you right now. You are being molded, shaped, refined, and elevated. Everything you have survived has brought you to this moment of spiritual maturity. Everything you have endured has prepared you to steward the wealth heaven is releasing. Chosen One. As you continue walking this sacred path, you may start to realize that every shift in your life has been leading you toward a deeper revelation of who you truly are. There is a moment when the chosen stop seeing themselves as victims of circumstance and begin to recognize themselves as vessels of divine intention. And you, Anointed One, are entering that moment now. The veil is lifting, the fog is clearing, the pieces are connecting. What once felt confusing is beginning to make spiritual sense. You are awakening into your identity, and with identity comes authority. With authority comes clarity, and with clarity comes manifestation. I remember when the same awakening happened to me. At first, I resisted it. I tried to hold on to the familiar version of myself, because the unknown felt too vast, too risky, too unpredictable. But the more I resisted, the more uncomfortable my spirit became. It was as if heaven refused to let me return to who I was, because who I was could not carry where I was going. And the same is happening to you now. Anointed One, heaven is calling you forward, and when heaven calls, the soul cannot remain asleep. You begin to feel the shift, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Certain things no longer excite you. Certain relationships no longer resonate. Certain dreams you once had now feel too small. This isn't loss. This is evolution. The chosen cannot remain in the same spiritual posture once their calling has been activated. There were seasons in my own life when I felt like I was being emptied. Everything I depended on seemed to fall away. The comfort I once felt in routine began to fade. And though I thought I was being stripped, I later realized I was being upgraded. Heaven was clearing out the old version of me to make room for the grounded, purified, aligned version that would be capable of stewarding abundance with integrity. And you, Chosen One, are being upgraded in the same way. You may feel the tension of becoming. You may feel caught between who you were and who you are meant to be. This in-between space is uncomfortable, but it is holy. It is sacred ground. It is the spiritual threshold where heaven rewrites your identity and equips you for what is coming. Many people avoid this place. They run back to familiarity because transformation demands honesty, vulnerability, and surrender. But you have not run. You have endured. And that endurance is a sign that heaven trusts you with more. Chosen. 1. One of the clearest signs you are stepping into divine wealth is the shift happening in your beliefs. Not the beliefs you speak out loud, but the beliefs you carry deep in your spirit. You no longer see wealth as something beyond your reach. You see it as part of your purpose. You no longer see abundance as luck. You see it as alignment. You no longer believe you must fight for every inch. You've started to recognize that when you walk in purpose, doors open without force. This inner shift is crucial because wealth is attracted to identity. The moment you see yourself as someone capable of carrying abundance is the moment abundance begins to respond. I remember a pivotal moment in my journey when I realized that my old mindset was too small for the life heaven was calling me into. I had been praying for increase while still thinking like someone who expected lack. I wanted abundance, but my habits were shaped by fear. I asked God for expansion, but I lived like someone trying to avoid loss. And as long as I held on to that mindset, nothing changed. But the moment I let go of fear-based thinking, something shifted. Opportunities that once seemed distant began to appear. Provision that once felt impossible became normal. My spirit became aligned with abundance, and abundance began aligning with me. You, chosen one, are undergoing this same transformation. Another powerful sign that wealth is approaching your life is the refinement of your integrity. Heaven is elevating you in ways that require purity. That is why you have felt conviction stirring inside you more strongly than before. You can no longer lie to yourself. You can no longer betray your own spirit. You can no longer tolerate people whose energy pulls you backward. Your heart, your motives, your intentions, everything is being purified so that when wealth arrives, it cannot corrupt you. The chosen are refined so that they can carry riches without losing righteousness. And you have also begun to notice something else, a deep, unshakable sense that your breakthrough is near. Even when circumstances don't make sense, your spirit keeps whispering, something is coming. And that whisper is not imagination, it is revelation. That pull you feel, that anticipation rising in your chest, that quiet certainty that your life is about to shift, that is heaven aligning your spirit with what is already written for you. I felt this same sense before every major breakthrough in my life, an internal confirmation that didn't match my external reality, yet proved true every single time. Anointed One. You have reached a point in your spiritual evolution where you cannot go backward. The old path has closed. The old identity has expired. The old limitations have dissolved. The only direction available to you now is forward into destiny, into abundance, into purpose, into divine wealth. Everything in your life is being reordered so that you can step into what has always been yours. You are not just preparing for wealth, you are becoming the person who can hold it, protect it, multiply it, and use it according to heaven's blueprint for your life. Chosen. 1. Heaven is not just shifting things around you, it is shifting things within you. Chosen. 1. There is a sacred turning point on every divine path where the preparation within you becomes undeniable. It's the moment when you realize that the discomfort you've been feeling is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that everything is beginning to align. Heaven does not elevate a person without first awakening their inner world. And that inner awakening is happening within you right now. You can feel it in the way your thoughts are shifting, in the way your spirit responds to certain things, in the way you no longer tolerate what once felt acceptable. This is not ordinary growth. This is spiritual activation. And once activation begins, nothing in your life remains the same. Anointed One, you have stepped into a deeper level of awareness, one where you're no longer guided by fear or uncertainty, but by an inner knowing that is stronger than anything you've ever felt before. There were moments in your past when you questioned your path, when you wondered whether your dreams were too big or your calling too heavy. Yet somehow, something always pulled you back onto the right path. That something was divine orchestration. It was heaven ensuring that you could not drift too far from the destiny written for you. The chosen are guarded in ways they do not always see. And when you look back over your life, you will notice the countless times you were redirected, protected, or rescued without even realizing it. I've walked through seasons where I thought I had missed my moment, where opportunities slipped through my fingers and I believed I had failed. But later, I realized that what I thought were missed opportunities were actually divine redirections. Heaven was closing doors that were too small for the version of me I was becoming. And in the same way, certain doors in your life have not opened because they were never meant to hold the weight of who you are destined to be. You were created for greater rooms, greater platforms, greater opportunities. And when the time is right, those doors will open without effort. For now, your task is simply to allow heaven to continue preparing you. Chosen One. One of the most profound signs that wealth is part of your calling is the increasing clarity you feel around your purpose. Even if you don't have the full blueprint, you're beginning to sense the direction, the pull, the stirring. You have ideas that feel divinely inspired. You have dreams that refuse to fade. You feel a connection to something larger than yourself, something that keeps calling you forward. That is purpose revealing itself. And purpose always precedes provision. When you begin stepping into who you truly are, heaven releases what you need to support that identity. But purpose also requires courage. There were times when I had to step out with nothing but faith, no guarantees, no confirmation, no visible evidence. And every time I chose courage over comfort, heaven met me halfway. Blessings appeared from places I least expected. Support came from directions I could not see. Roads opened that had once been hidden. You are now standing at that same brink where heaven waits to see if you will trust the inner nudge. And every time you choose courage, the spiritual environment around you responds. Anointed One, you must understand that your journey has involved a level of internal refinement that few people ever experience. You've been tested in your patience, in your intentions, in your boundaries, in your loyalty, in your faith. You've faced moments where everything in you wanted to quit, yet you didn't. That ability to stand firm in adversity is not something you learned, it is something you inherited. It is the strength of the chosen, and that strength is what qualifies you for divine elevation. Another powerful indicator of your destined wealth is the increasing sensitivity you feel toward your inner guidance. You've begun recognizing the difference between what your spirit says and what your fears say. You've started noticing when something feels off, even before anything goes wrong. You sense alignment and misalignment with stunning clarity. This sensitivity is a spiritual tool, one that will help you navigate abundance with wisdom instead of impulse. Heaven sharpens your discernment long before it releases your breakthrough, so that when resources begin to flow, you steward them wisely. Chosen. One, think about how your perspective has evolved. You no longer desire wealth for superficial reasons. You desire it because you understand the responsibility attached to it. You want to build, help, give, elevate, transform. That shift in intention is what separates the chosen from the ordinary. Wealth in your hands is not just wealth. It is impact. It is influence. It is legacy. And heaven blesses those whose motives are purified through experience. Anointed one. Everything inside you is rising to match what heaven is preparing for you. Even your struggles have shifted. They no longer break you, they teach you. They no longer discourage you, they refine you. They no longer make you question your worth. They remind you of your resilience. You are becoming spiritually unshakable, and when a chosen one becomes unshakable, heaven begins to move. Chosen one, your spirit is aligning. Chosen one. As you continue walking through this divine unfolding, you may notice how your inner atmosphere has shifted in a way you cannot fully explain. You sense things before they happen. You feel movements in the spirit before they manifest in the natural. You catch whispers in your heart that seem to come from a realm beyond your understanding. This heightened awareness is not imagination, it is activation. It is the awakening of your prophetic sensitivity, the part of you that heaven has been cultivating through every season of waiting endurance and quiet transformation. When God prepares a person for wealth, he first awakens their ability to hear, because wealth requires guidance, and guidance requires spiritual ears. Anointed one. You have begun to sense that you are closer to your breakthrough than ever before. Even if your surroundings appear unchanged, you can feel the tension of transition. It's like standing at the edge of a new world. You can't see it yet, but your spirit knows it's there. I remember feeling this same tension in my own life. I would wake up with an unexplainable sense of anticipation, as if something was shifting in the unseen. Nothing around me looked different, yet everything inside me felt new. It was heaven preparing me, aligning me, strengthening me for what was coming. And now the same divine alignment is happening within you. One of the most powerful signs that you are stepping into divine wealth is the way heaven has been shaping your relationship with responsibility. You've noticed it, how you feel more accountable for your thoughts, your choices, your habits, your energy. The chosen are not allowed to live carelessly. You may look around and see others acting without intention, taking shortcuts, compromising their values, and facing no immediate consequences. But when you try to do the same, something in your spirit refuses to let you. You feel the weight of conviction. You feel the inner pull toward alignment. That pull is not restriction, it is protection. Heaven is guarding you from becoming someone who cannot carry the level of abundance destined for you. I had to learn this myself. There were moments when my flesh wanted to take the easy way, when my emotions wanted to react, when my old patterns tried to resurface. But heaven confronted me. Heaven corrected me. Heaven pulled me back into alignment. And though it felt uncomfortable at times, I later realized that this correction was an act of love. God corrects the chosen because the chosen carry too much destiny to live casually. You are being shaped with the same love. Every boundary that feels inconvenient, every conviction that feels heavy, every divine "no, you've received all of it" is preparing you to steward wealth with integrity. Chosen. One another sign of your coming abundance is the shift in your vision. You no longer see the world the way you used to. You see potential where others see obstacles. You see purpose where others see problems. You see possibility even in places that feel barren. This is because your spiritual eyes have been opened. Heaven is teaching you to recognize opportunity through the lens of purpose rather than fear. I remember when this shift happened to me, it was like a veil had been lifted. Suddenly, ideas began to flow. Creativity awakened. Inspiration returned. I could see pathways I never noticed before, and those pathways led to blessings that were waiting for me long before I realized they existed. The same awakening is happening within you now. Anointed One. You have also begun to notice that your resilience has grown stronger than your fear. Situations that once overwhelmed you now barely shake you. The emotional storms that used to pull you down no longer have the same power. You've learned to breathe through uncertainty, to stand through pressure, to trust through confusion. This resilience is not natural, it is supernatural. It is the strength of someone who has been trained by heaven, and this strength will be essential for the levels of influence and abundance that are coming your way. Wealth brings responsibility, and responsibility requires emotional stability. You are being perfected in ways that will protect you later. Another profound sign of your divine elevation is the shift in what you desire. The things that once attracted you no longer hold value. You crave depth instead of distraction, purpose instead of validation, growth instead of comfort. You feel an inner pull toward excellence, not to impress anyone, but because your spirit refuses to settle for anything less than what aligns with your calling. I felt this same shift when heaven was preparing me. Suddenly, my standards rose. Not because I thought I was better than anyone, but because my destiny demanded a higher standard, and you are rising to that same standard. Chosen One. Heaven does not elevate someone whose inner world is still tied to who they used to be. That is why you have been losing the desire for old ways of thinking, old habits, old cycles. You are not broken, you are being renewed. You are not confused, you are being rewired. You are not losing yourself, you are finding your true self. And perhaps the most beautiful sign of all is this: despite everything you've walked through, your heart is still open, hopeful, and receptive. You still believe in better days. You still sense purpose. You still feel guided. You still trust, even faintly, that God is not finished with you. That hope is not weakness. It is evidence of your calling. Chosen One. Everything in your spirit is shifting because everything in your life is about to shift. Chosen One. As you arrive at this stage of your journey, something within you is beginning to crystallize a realization that everything you have endured, everything you have learned, everything you have survived, has been preparing you for a divine unveiling. There is a point in the life of every chosen one where the preparation, the pruning, the stretching, and the refining all converge into clarity. And you, Anointed One, are standing at that threshold now. Your spirit is no longer confused by the process. Instead, it recognizes the patterns. The same storms that once made you question God now make you recognize His hand. The same delays that once frustrated you now remind you that heaven's timing is precise. You see with different eyes. You discern with a deeper wisdom. You walk with a steadier heart. You must understand something powerful when heaven prepares you for wealth. It is not merely preparing you to receive, it is preparing you to become. The wealth you are destined to carry requires a version of you that is spiritually grounded, emotionally mature, mentally clear, and purpose-driven. And that is exactly who you are becoming. Think about it. Chosen One. You have walked through situations that should have made you bitter, yet your heart became softer. You have endured losses that could have hardened you, yet you became wiser. You have faced disappointments that could have broken your spirit, yet you became stronger. That transformation is not accidental. It is evidence of divine elevation. Anointed One. One of the greatest signs that you have reached a new spiritual level is the peace rising in your spirit. Not the peace that comes from everything going well, but the peace that remains even when things are uncertain. This peace is not human, it is heavenly. It settles within you as a quiet, knowing a whisper that says, "I am aligned." When I reached this stage in my own journey, I realized that the external circumstances no longer dictated the internal world. I could walk through challenges without losing myself. I could face uncertainty without collapsing. That is when I knew heaven had strengthened me in ways I never could have done on my own. You are entering that same peace now. Another sign of this spiritual shifting is the clarity you feel about the life you are meant to build. Even if you don't yet know every detail, you feel the direction. You can sense what aligns with you and what doesn't. You can feel which opportunities are heavenly and which ones are distractions. This clarity is a gift. It is heaven's way of guiding you into the wealthy path prepared for you. I remember when this clarity began unfolding in my own life. Suddenly decisions that once seemed complicated became simple, not easy, but simple. And the more I trusted that clarity, the more aligned my steps became. You, chosen one, are stepping into that same divine rhythm. There is also a new strength rising within you, a strength that comes not from effort, but from identity. You no longer beg for doors to open, you expect them to. You no longer cling to people who are not aligned. You release them with grace. You no longer fear the unknown, you trust the unfolding. This strength is not arrogance, it is spiritual maturity. It is what happens when your spirit recognizes that it is finally stepping into the version of you that heaven has been shaping all along. Chosen one, perhaps the most important shift happening within you now is the realization that your destiny is not waiting somewhere far in the future, it is unfolding in this very moment. Heaven is not preparing you for wealth someday. Heaven is aligning you for the beginning of it now. Every revelation, every correction, every divine nudge has been pointing you toward this season. You've been walking through the final stages of preparation even when you didn't realize it. And now your spirit knows that the time is near. The path ahead is not about striving, it is about stepping, not about forcing it, is about flowing, not about chasing it, is about aligning. Everything in your journey has brought you to this spiritual readiness, and what heaven releases to the ready cannot be withheld. Anointed one, you are not entering this next chapter unprepared. You are entering it, refined, strengthened, awakened, and aligned. The wealth, the influence, the purpose that await you are not accidents, they are divine appointments, and your spirit is finally ready to receive what has always belonged to you. Chosen one, your new season begins now. Chosen one, this is your Kairos moment. Heaven has already begun the divine transfer, and the path before you is charged with purpose, favor, and supernatural alignment. Walk forward with faith, for what is written for you cannot be withheld. Stay sensitive to the whispers of the Spirit, remain anchored in your calling, and expect abundance to reveal itself in sacred, undeniable ways. If this word spoke to your spirit, share your testimony below and stay connected. Your season of divine wealth has begun.